Don't want to have it be a mess around here. Alright, let me sit down, tell you a story. So yeah, I just got back from the hospital. I mean, it was technically yesterday, but I wasn't really in the mood to share my experience already. Here's my little hospital bracelet. I'm not sure what information there is important, so I might bleep some of it out. Haven't had one of those since I was like 9, I think. But yeah, something I've been noticing is that for your 30th birthday, you get the ability to completely obliterate yourself with a random movement. It's pretty sick. But alright, let me get up and show you what happened. Okay. Anyway, so I guess it was around 1 in the morning. I fell asleep on the couch, as you do. At about 3 in the morning, I was feeling uncomfortable, so, I rolled over, as you do, and that's when my nightmare started. I can only describe the feeling I felt as someone had reached into my back and took my spine without my permission. From the couch, I rolled over here to the floor. In hindsight, I'm not sure why I did that. It just felt like the option to do at this point. Ooh. Okay, let's just ignore this piece of trash over there for now, okay? Give me some slack. So anyway, from about 3 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., I was laying here on the floor. With every movement I made, it really felt like my spine was disconnecting. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my 32 years of living, and I've literally been run over by a truck. I have that scar on my leg still. Perhaps a story for a different day. After about half an hour of writhing on the floor, I figured I need to get to my phone, which was over here on this little nightstand. I'd say it took me like 15 minutes to get from here in the middle of this carpet to over there. Just tiny little movements. And then with my phone, maybe a reasonable person would have called an ambulance. I just started Googling like back exploded Reddit, just like see if there was anything I could do to like move again. If I was gonna call an ambulance, I would have needed to unlock the door. I didn't want our door to be busted in. That's inconvenient. Anyway, I did start to get a little worried because I am alone in this house and Bones will not be back until next week. At 6:30, I decided, well, she's probably awake by now. I'm going to go ahead and call her. And so I did. I will leave out most of the details about how I was feeling in this moment, but let's just say it was a pretty scary experience. When I did eventually call Bones, she called an ambulance. I basically begged her not to because of the aforementioned reasons and because it's like, I don't know. It's also just like not a thing you want to be in. I haven't been in an ambulance since the aforementioned truck hitting. It wasn't something I really wanted to happen, but she did anyway. And she also called some friends we have nearby. And while they don't have a key to our house, I will show you how they got in. It's actually very funny. Out here in our winter garden, we have this window that's always open just for air circulation. It does have a screen on it so that bugs don't come in. It's obviously dark, so it's hard to see, but so he took the screen off and came in through the window. Like, this isn't a very low window to the ground, and there's also a little bit of drop off on the ground. This guy that came in to rescue me, he's 70 years old. He's in better shape than I am for sure. So, I don't know, funny, maybe not the right word. Heroic, and I'm actually very much indebted to them. But anyway, yeah, neighbors come in, unlock the front door for the paramedics coming like 10 minutes later. I'm laying there with my neighbor and his wife sort of standing over me. They unlock the front door for the paramedics to come in, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, so now I have like 7 people standing over my like disabled body. And since our entryway and pretty much every other entrance / exit to the house has a weird angle to it, or like stairs and stuff, they couldn't get like the stretcher in or out of the house, or like, hey buddy, you're gonna kind of need to stand up. And I'm like, wait, what? I would have done that 3 hours ago if I could. With a little bit of help and a lot of pain, I was eventually able to stand up, and I was incredibly surprised when I did stand up because it didn't feel as bad as I thought it would. Like, when I was actually standing up, it was okay. Every few steps I would get like another shot of holy hell, what is this feeling? I didn't know that could exist. But I was ultimately able to walk out the entrance, down the stairs, and onto the stretcher. They did have a less than elegant backup plan if I couldn't stand, which basically involves wrapping me in a giant carpet like you see here. Let's just say I am glad I could eventually stand because that didn't sound fun. So we're driving in the ambulance. 25 minutes later, we arrive at the hospital. The ambulance did stop to pick another patient up, and I was just thinking to myself, like, wait, is this a bus? It was kind of funny, like, but yeah, they didn't think I was an emergency case, and honestly, I wasn't. Like, I was in a lot of pain, but I wasn't like bleeding or, you know, having a heart attack or a stroke or something, so I just thought it was kind of funny. All in all, I think I was in the hospital for about 5 hours. It wasn't that big of a deal. I think most of the time was just spent waiting. I saw like 5 different doctors and they all asked me what's wrong. I kind of figured, like, I don't know, it's been a long time since I was in a hospital, so I kind of thought they like communicated with each other or something, so I wouldn't have to answer the same question, but it is what it is. Ultimately, they deemed it was a muscle issue. I was dead set on believing like I had slipped a disc in my back or something, and I'm really glad that most likely wasn't the case. I'm still not totally sure because they didn't do an x-ray or anything, but maybe there's just ways they can tell. I got a couple of different medications. These are painkillers, I suppose. And let me tell you, these are about as effective as a YouTuber telling their audience to not go harass someone they're about to shit on for the next 30 minutes. And for those that are less chronically online, that means they didn't do shit, dude. They didn't do anything at all. Whether I take these painkillers or not, I have the same exact pain. Also got some of these, I think they're muscle relaxers. I'm also not sure they do anything, but you're only supposed to take them before you go to bed. So I took one before bed. I slept fine, so they might help, I don't know. I don't know if there's an exact medical term for what happened. Like, I guess it could be considered as pulling a muscle. I feel like I've done that before, and it was nowhere near on that level, like not even close. But maybe the back muscles are particularly sassy. I have had on and off back pain for most of my life, and I think that's just because I don't take care of myself enough. So this was ultimately the straw that broke my back. Thankfully not literally. I do think it was mostly muscle related. But yeah, bending down is incredibly painful. Sitting down, standing up, basically everything that uses the back muscles is very difficult. I'm not sure of my actual like audience age demographic, so I might be talking to a wall here, but there's something called like a witch's shot, which is like a term for sudden, unexplained back pain, where you don't even necessarily need to do anything special. I think this is what that was, but like the final boss version of it, because I've had that before. It's not something that happens super often, but maybe like 3 or 4 times in my life, just randomly out of nowhere, it's like, oh, back muscles decided to explode today, cool. But yeah, this was like the final level of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, probably the least exciting hospital story you could ask for. But yeah, on one hand, I do kind of wish I had some footage of the hospital, so you're not just looking at a wall the entire time. But yeah, that wasn't my first priority while I was there. I'm pretty sure that makes me like not a real YouTuber, but that's it for my story. Moga from the future here, right before I upload this. So 4 days post-hospital, still definitely not 100%, but my muscles are recovering. I am getting better each day with proper stretches and just being careful to limit the movements that really hurt. Sneezing, I found out later, is one of those that I just can't really avoid. I'm not sure what I can really take away from this experience, except, you know, try and take care of myself better. Maybe incorporate stretches into normal life instead of just when it's kind of a necessity. So yeah, overall, it was definitely a scary experience while I was going through it. In hindsight though, it's definitely more humbling than anything else. Like, yeah, I definitely did move around more than usual the day before, lifted up some heavier objects than I'm used to the day before, but like nothing insane. And if that's all it takes to completely destroy me, then it's like, yeah, should probably do something about that. But yeah, that'll do it. Also, I just want to say I did not mean for this to come off as like sympathy seeking or anything like that. It's really not that big of a deal. To be 1000% honest, I made this video because it was an easier one to make for me right now. Most of my gaming stuff, I'm between like 3 and 4 hours sitting in a chair, which is pretty uncomfortable currently. But yeah, that is that. So that's where I'm gonna wrap up the video. I guess it is a slightly more serious subject, but you know, you could still drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Okay, I'm just gonna go now, bye.